Well, as usual, I'm arriving fashionably late to the party. And which party? Well, I could have put together a video about Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez's appearance on the Young Turks.
We end up falling into a trap. We end up falling into the right's trap of framing, which is that whenever they want something, we never ask how much it's going to cost. Whenever they want to authorize unlimited war, whenever they want to cut our tax revenue down by $2 trillion, we never ask, how are you going to pay for some of the largest expenditures that we've had in the last 20 years. It's only when we talk about education, healthcare, and housing do we talk about empty pockets. The truth of the matter is the way that we pay for these programs is the same exact way that we pay for endless war, trillion-dollar tax cuts.
So, the argument is what? We've spent way too much money on the military, so there's no excuse for not spending a massive amount on her medical plan? I really don't mind listening to this because I imagine it as a comedy. And besides, I love the way she rolls the R when she says Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico, Puerto Rico.
Means you got a talented tongue.
I also considered making a video about Jim Acosta whining about his encounter with Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And I know everyone saw his showdown with her in the press room, but I'm not sure that everyone saw him pout afterwards.
But I'll say that the press is not the enemy of the people. And, I think, maybe we should make some bumper stickers, make some buttons. Maybe we should go out on Pennsylvania Avenue like these folks who chant CNN sucks and fake news. Maybe we should go out, all journalists should go out on Pennsylvania Avenue and chant, we're not the enemy of the people. Because I'm tired of this. Honestly, Brooke, I'm tired of this. It is not right. It is not fair. It is not just. It is un-American to come out here and call the press the enemy of the people. She ought to hear some of the things that were said to me the other night in Tampa.
Why is everybody always picking on me?
Don't worry though, Jim. You've got Colbert on your side.
So Jim Acosta, you should just embrace your new role as a wrestling villain, like this.
Listen up and listen good, baby. It's me, Jimbo the Acosta, enemy of the people, coming to you live from the Trump rally, baby. Woo! And I'm ready to take on the Golden Goon himself with my two biggest weapons, facts and sources.
Facts and sources. That's what Jim Acosta and CNN have, huh? Colbert is really funny when he's not trying to be. Oh, but I decided not to cover either of those issues. Instead, I'll talk about the same thing that everyone is talking about. Alex Jones. When you come in late, you kind of have to cover the commentary that other people have offered. That's okay, though, because a lot of people who should know better have already moved on to the mundane Matt fiasco. And I want to keep the Alex Jones issue alive. Where to begin? Well, first off, I'll probably start with the kind of people who miss the point. Now, I despise Twitter, but I did read some of the tweets about this, and I was disappointed to see that a lot of people don't understand just how important this issue really is. Alex Jones is not that important. The point, though, is that several major internet companies acted in concert to eliminate a person's internet presence. Now, to some, that wasn't as important as the chance for a good gotcha moment. Take, for example, the Wizard of Cause. He's on a long list of people that I used to subscribe to. He had a handful of tweets on the subject, including this one. Now, he always sounds to me like he's doing his best to impersonate Vincent Price and William Shatner at the same time, but I'll do my best to imitate the wizard. LOL. Regardless of where you fall on the matter, it is pretty funny that Alex Jones has inspired numbers of conservatives and self-described libertarians to call for the government to intervene in the affairs of private companies. Maybe I shouldn't pick on this guy in particular. Then again, he also tweeted this. Today was proof that giant corporations can poison the air and water. Harvest and sell your personal data. Lobby for war with cost plus fee award contracts. Fundamentally corrupt our democracy through campaign financing. But ban one crackpot, and then it's government intervention time. As though people do not talk about corporations, war, corruption, and the like. No, they've let it all go uncommented on until now, which is why apparently no one should have complained about a massive corporate attack on free speech. That first tweet, though, conservatives and libertarians have been inspired to call for government intervention in the affairs of private companies. The implication is that conservatives and libertarians shouldn't call for government intervention on account of their political labels. Now let's see. Conservative. Is that defined as someone who would never call for government action? Nope. How about libertarian? Still no. Ah, that's the group he's describing. Neither conservatives nor libertarians are anarchists. Conservatives and even libertarians are free to call for government action if they feel it is appropriate. Fortunately, a lot of people do understand what's really at stake. Take Kyle Kulinski, for example. Now, as much as I dislike Kyle, there are times that he reminds me why it is that I used to subscribe to him.
I think it was Apple, iTunes, they decided to pull Alex Jones' show. And then Facebook decided to pull some of Alex Jones' shows. I'm a little disheartened by the reaction to this. I see a lot of, not so subtle celebrations over this fact. And I don't think it's something to celebrate. I'm pretty much as anti-Alex Jones as humanly possible. But having said that, this is a matter of principle. This is a terrible precedent.
But then also, I think these platforms are so giant and have so much power that I think they should be regulated as public utilities. Now, other people are saying, oh, well, you should break them up. And, that's the other thing that happens. When basically you get monopolies, the idea is we have antitrust laws, you should break them up. I'm more of a fan of just regulate them like public utilities. So in other words, treat Twitter and Facebook and YouTube as if it is a government issue, and to censor somebody would effectively be the government censoring it. Treat it like it's a public utility.
A lot of people are saying that. Internet platforms are public utilities and must be regulated as such. Can it be? Can the people really call for action against the corporate overlords? Would that be principled? The thing about principles is that most people have more than one. Relevant to this discussion, I have two competing principles. Number one, government should not interfere in private business any more than is necessary. Necessary for what? Well, that depends on the situation being discussed, and in this case, principle number two takes precedence. Freedom of speech is important. I know that sounds kind of vague, but I can either be vague or explain that position at length, and I'm sure you have other videos to watch today, so I'll let you make sense of it as best you can. Even though I hold freedom of speech as a higher ideal than the free market, I still want the best solution possible. So now I have to introduce you to a small channel that I've come to really appreciate, that perhaps you haven't heard of. I really like this helmet. Makes me feel manly. It's not my helmet, though. It belongs to the Son of the Lion. And if you're not listening to this guy, then you should be. Once you get tired of my video, head over to his channel and subscribe. Just do it. If you decide you don't like it later on, you can always unsubscribe, but I don't think that you'll have to. Anyway, here's some of his opinions on the Alex Jones censorship issue.
The monopoly argument is a tired leftist trope, an excuse to regulate successful businesses. Monopolies can exist in a free market if they are that much better than the rest. When they become corrupt or abusive, it is on us, the consumer, to choose to use a competitor. My feeling, however, is that these companies have not gotten here without the government's help, and that needs to stop immediately.
That point is more than fair, and it really made me put my own priorities in order. Do we really need to break up these giant companies? Now, I don't know that I'd oppose such an action, but that's not what I'm concerned with at the moment. Breaking up big companies for the sake of breaking them up is not what the Alex Jones debacle is about. That's a side issue.
BitChute exists. DTube exists. If you were serious about breaking control of these big firms, you would put your money where your mouth is and move to those platforms exclusively. My guess is most people won't.
Ah, not quite on the money there. Close. But there was a single word that scotched that up completely. The word was exclusively. Creators on YouTube should create accounts on BitChute and Dailymotion, Vimeo, and the like. Exclusively, though? That would be counterproductive. Diminishing your own internet presence won't help secure freedom of speech.
Attack! That showed him, huh?
Every YouTuber, especially the larger voices, should move their presence to other sites in addition to their YouTube channel. They should encourage their subscribers to watch them on other platforms first and foremost. Because the object is not to move the content. The object is to move the audience. It serves that purpose to use the reach of a YouTube channel to bring attention to other venues. That's not enough anyway, though. I do believe that government action is called for, and Son of the Lion does not disagree with that, but he points out something that I honestly would not have known. The regulation needed is already on the books.
These companies get protection under Title 47, Chapter 5, Subchapter 2, Part 1, U.S. Code 230, protection for private blocking and screening of offensive material. Now, if you look under Section C, it gives you protection for Good Samaritan blocking and screening of offensive material. Subsection 2, Part A, any action voluntarily taken in good faith to restrict access to or availability of material that the provider or user considers to be obscene, lewd, lascivious, filthy, excessively violent, harassing, or otherwise objectionable, whether or not such material is constitutionally protected. Now, here it's essentially saying these companies are protected in the action they take if taken in good faith. Does anyone believe the censoring of Alex Jones was good faith? I think it's plainly clear it was politically motivated.
Is there anything I would change there, though? Yes. Son of the Lion is right that we don't need any new law or procedure or regulation. This one, though, it needs a bit of tweaking, absolutely. The phrase, in good faith, is not enough. This bit of legal code was put in place to allow internet platforms to restrict their content in reasonable ways. And yes, there are reasonable restrictions. For example, I don't think it's unreasonable at all for YouTube or any other video service to keep porn off their site. It is kind of funny how it's worded here. It's not enough to say pornographic. To drive the point home, they really describe the stuff they don't want to see. Obscene, lewd, lascivious, filthy.
Well, it's just that you said all those words in one sentence.
I guess this is just in case there's some piece of objectionable sexual content that is lewd but not lascivious. In addition, they can restrict content that is excessively violent, and I don't mind that either. They were careful to put that word excessively there, which also makes sense. Try to find a Disney family film that has no violence at all in it. It's the next two items that need to be removed from this list. Harassing. That doesn't sound bad until you read the end of this lengthy, dangling sentence. Whether or not such material is constitutionally protected. Genuine harassment is not protected. So putting harassment on this list could allow a firm like YouTube to say that they find Alex Jones's controversial stories to be harassment, and to then eliminate him. Not that they would need to, because right after that is the phrase, or otherwise objectionable. That's anything and everything tied up real nice and neat. Lawyers live for that kind of abstraction. So this bit of law does need a couple serious changes. Harassment and otherwise objectionable must be removed to make it work. And I would suggest another brief but significant addition.
This is clearly an attack on free speech. These companies prove they are not public forums and should be classed as publishers, opening them up to the flood of copyright suits they deserve. Creators have for years been open to these suits. It is time these companies are too.
I don't want revenge or justice. I don't want to punish these companies. I just want them to fulfill their role. I don't want these platforms to be treated as publishers. That would give them the power to eliminate anything they don't want. What should happen is that the law should make clear that if the platform in question blocks content that does not fall clearly into these descriptions, then it will be considered a publisher for that action in particular, and will be liable. Now, I'm not a lawyer, so I probably haven't worded that as well as it could be worded. But it's the concept I'm selling here, not the specific phrasing. If there's one thing that corporations fear, even big corporations, it's a lawsuit. That's because in their case, one lawsuit becomes 100 and then becomes 1,000. If they're threatened with court time, then these platforms will likely become defenders of free speech out of necessity. When they fail, it will be the actual offended party that can bring them to justice for any indiscretion. Using the courts, yes, but that is still the best possible solution.